The story that has been dominating my mind, my text thread, and a lot of thoughts and prayers has been Terrion Arnold, absolute friend of the show. But the story that has moved over the wires, old reference, over the ticker, as Lance likes to say, about Terrion Arnold's arrest has left a lot of people just in awe, shock and awe.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, such a good kid, such a promising future. And now, I mean, he could potentially be facing life in prison.
Yeah, innocent until proven guilty, obviously. He denies these accusations.
Yeah, there's obviously got to be some substance there. Facing multiple felony charges, arrested yesterday in Tampa.
I've got the rundown from the Tampa Police Department.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is from Ari Miroff, who covers this beat down in Tampa, from the Tampa Police. Police say this all started after Terrion Arnold and several others had property stolen from an Airbnb Arnold had rented in Largo in early February. Investigators say Arnold believed some of the eventual victims were responsible, even though police later determined they were not involved in that theft. On February 3rd, police say Arnold and Bakai Hilton, who investigators say helped coordinate the alleged setup, directed DeVell and Randazzo to contact one of the victims and lure them to an apartment in Tampa. Around midnight on February 4th, investigators say the victims arrived at the apartment. Once they entered a bedroom, police say Williams and Hudson, who had been hiding in a closet, jumped out, grabbed the victims, held them at gunpoint, and attacked them. Investigators say this incident was streamed to Arnold, Hilton, and Freddie Hughes while they were traveling to the apartment. Tampa police then say there was a group chat involving the defendants and that Arnold and Hilton gave directions through that chat while the attack was happening. About an hour later, police say Arnold arrived at the apartment with Hilton, Hughes, and another person, and that he directed them to go inside while the robbery was still going on. Investigators say property was stolen from the victims during the attack. At around 1:40 a.m., police say the victims were escorted out of the apartment by armed suspects and forced into their vehicle before leaving the scene. Police say DeVal, Williams, and another individual then got into the vehicle that was being driven by Arnold as they left the area. The victims later reported the incident to Tampa police.
So Terrion's side of the story has always been, I wasn't heavily involved in this. I knew about the situation.
But you're sitting out the text and you're driving the getaway car.
That's what the police now say.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what the prosecutors will argue.
But
Terrion, you said you weren't involved. You were on basically a FaceTime, orchestrating this deal. You were in all the text, and you were driving the getaway car. That's what they're going to argue, it appears. And it is going to be incumbent on Terrion to prove that that wasn't the case. And boy, I hope my gut instinct is wrong on this.
Yeah, I don't know where this lands. I mean, you hear life in prison, but
that's the maximum, obviously.
Yeah, but you also hear, guys with this kind of talent and this kind of money can kind of maneuver their way out of situations like this. I don't know. The NFL is going to get involved.
It wouldn't blow me away if the Lions just straight released him, because on the field he's had issues as well.
Has.
He's not been great on the field. So,
and this is the way you get out of a contract if you're the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I mean, there are optics involved, like, again, innocent until proven guilty, but this is not like this is a player that they're like, man, we cannot play defense without Terrion Arnold. He has, at times, been a liability for them. He's committed a lot of penalties. On the field is obviously the least important of all this, but my point was, when you said the NFL getting involved, like, I wouldn't shock me if Detroit just straight released him. That wouldn't be the most shocking thing. Well, it certainly wouldn't be the most shocking thing in this story.
This all happened yesterday because two of the individuals that were involved in the incident took plea deals to lessen their time in jail to flip on others involved, which included, according to the Tampa Police, Terrion Arnold.
Yeah, you want to be if you are going to flip, you want to be the front of the line.
Yeah. That's right. You want to get the most out of it, right?
But it's kind of amazing. I know talent. We talk about it all the time. Always outweighs and guys that are super talented. I was watching Ghana and England the other day. Ghana's got a player. Their best player, was he facing 7 felony counts of rape?
Oh my God!
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
He was a guy that talked shit the whole time, was putting elbows into Harry Kane.
I mean, I saw the story pop up last night, and I'd honestly forgotten the story. I'd forgotten the story was even out there. And then I saw it pop up last night, NFL player arrested for kidnapping, and I was like, pit my stomach. It didn't say the name, but I immediately associated the two. Click on the story and read it, and the part that made the pit my stomach fall even further was that the arrest occurred right after two of the accused decided to cooperate with investigators. And I'm like, oh, God.
Well, look, it's easy for us to have a guy on weekly, and we become, I don't want to say friends, but we build a rapport with this guy. But, outside of that, like I remember seeing him at the team hotel in Los Angeles before they lost to Michigan, and seeing him with his family and how excited like he was, just running around, taking pictures with fans, came up to us, talked to us. I mean, he was just such a charismatic guy, full of life. You find it hard to believe, but I mean, you brought up OJ the other day. When we heard the OJ news, you're like, OJ couldn't have killed somebody.
Yeah,
OJ Simpson.
Yeah, the public-facing part of Terrion Arnold versus this do not compute.
No,
I mean,
but we're all human, and blood boils pretty hot, especially if you're a world-class athlete like Terrion, and I'm sure it wasn't necessarily premeditated, but I guess it was because he sent it out a text. Now, 3 of the co-defendants are female. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
I did not notice that, no.
I'm assuming it was a couple, 3 guys, 3 girls.
I've never known that part of the story, to be honest with you, Lance.
Yeah, I mean...
I was just reading a lot of last names.
Yeah, I know. The story gets very confusing. So if I could summarize the story from my understanding.
Real quick, Ariana Del Val, Jasmine Randazza, and Lindell Hudson were 3 of the...
So as I understand the story... The way the prosecution, what they're saying has happened here. Terrion Arnold had a driver, right? He also had an Airbnb. As he goes to leave the Airbnb, he realizes $250,000 of cash and valuables are missing. And he believes the driver did it. That's what they're suggesting, right? So then somehow his buddies, not Terrion himself, they are alleging that he's orchestrated all of this, but his buddies lure the driver to an apartment where basically they jump him, attack him, and he says he didn't do it.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the story.
The kidnapping is confusing when you hear that. Like you think of a ransom note.
Yeah,
and being kidnapped
but basically,
if you hold anybody for an extended period of time at gunpoint, that kidnapping is. And transport them and all that without their...
Now, is this, on the other side, these guys knew Terrion had an Airbnb and they knew there might be something valuable? I don't know about you guys, but I've stayed at Airbnbs before where there's closets that are locked.
Yes.
And some of these closets could be safes. Maybe they were tipped off that Terrion, I don't know why you would keep valuables like that at an Airbnb.
$250,000, $100,000 of cash. I mean,
That's just, what if there's another layer? Was there something else in there?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of I don't knows in this story, Lance.
Damien, who's one of our black listeners and viewers, and I only say that because of the text he's sending here. Because the issue is the black culture believes in street justice versus justice from the courts. You rob me instead of calling the cops, I'm going to rob you back.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because
that's what Damien says.
That only exacerbates the issue as we're learning.
That does seem to be what happened here.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're Terrion Arnold, if this ends up being true, the best thing to do would have been to... Yeah, I'm a Detroit Lions first-round draft pick. I'm going to call the police.
You're representing Detroit. Yeah. You're representing the NFL. Look, street vigilante. Look, I mean, full disclosure, I believe in some of that stuff, but you legally can't do it.
I would just say,
like if you're beating a woman in the old days, in my granddad's generation, a couple of the neighborhood guys would have pulled him out behind a house and beat the crap out of him.
And the cops looked the other way, right?
Said, if you do it again. It'll be worse.
Yeah. Oh, Maddie was telling me, well, I shouldn't get into this story too
I was
much.
about to say,
anyway, she came across somebody that she kind of knows or has recently met, younger girl, and she was down at the bar. It could have been the Floribama, maybe not. I don't know. But she was wearing a bikini, and they're watching music, and a guy comes up and fondles her, and she knees the guy in the junk, and then she gets a little violent with the guy, and she ends up getting arrested.
Jeez.
So you can only
she gets arrested.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
But there is
my courts.
There is a point though. I mean, apparently, she grabbed the guy's head and slammed it a couple of times against the floor, which I would think is
that's fair game at that point. Yeah.
But I'm just saying there is a point of justice
Don't
where
blame the tiger if you jump in the tiger's.
That's right.
I mean, I agree, but I mean, this is different level. Terrion's got resources.
Well, back to that. Like, there is nobody in that story. You read a bunch of last names. You educated me that some of them are female. The person that had the most to lose in this whole story was Terrion Arnold.
That's right.
You're an NFL athlete. You're the one that's got the money-making ability of that group. I don't know anybody else in that group, but I'm going to just wager a guess that Terrion Arnold's future earnings potential was greater than anyone else in that group.
That he was paying for the Airbnb, the driver. He was paying for all of that.
Probably greater than that entire group combined, and that's what you have to remember in situations like this. I have everything to lose. And
just a horrible story.
God, I hope Terrion doesn't lose everything. But, man, the minute I read that he was arrested immediately after two of the alleged decide to cooperate with the state, my stomach sank, man. That sounds very ominous.
Yeah, and when will the story, just because now you've got more than one, you've got a Henry Ruggs and you've got a Nick Saban, another player, getting arrested, I'm sure there will be some kind of crazy narrative out there.
There will be, which is stupid, because how many players did Nick Saban put in the NFL?
Yeah,
and
I know,
point out
but
too.
there will be.
Oh, I know. There will always be.
I mean,
that.
because, Urban Meyer, a little bit different, but, we've got documentaries on that now.
Yeah. So that was the story that rocked us. I'm sure it rocked some of you as well. And
is Nate Oates going to play him, though?
The old crossover.
I see what you did there.
Yes.
I see what you did there.
I mean, would you be shocked, though, if the Lions cut him? I mean, that wouldn't.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
especially,
again,
I don't follow the NFL enough to know how upset the Lions were with his play. I knew it had not been.
I mean,
he'd been heavily criticized.
Yeah.
I mean, one interception in 2 years. He only played in 8 games last year.
A lot of PIs.
He had the injury.
He had some PIs.
First year had a lot of pass interference.
Yeah, first year he got torched a bunch, which, is kind of understandable in that first year. But, I mean, to your point,
that's sort of the way he did it at Alabama, though, too. Early on when he was on the field.
Then he ended up being incredible.
Yeah, he was sort of a detriment to the defense, and then he got to be better and better.
You just don't get that leash in the NFL, and I do wonder, what those numbers are, and if Detroit would save a lot against the cap. If
I mean, that's the whole thing. I don't know what to Jim's point, though. I mean, innocent of proven guilty, but this would be a way to get out of a contract you didn't want to. I mean, if he's in jail. If it's Henry Ruggs' situation, it's an easy decision. You cannot play him.
Well, and the state attorney's office said it's going to file that pretrial motion to keep him in jail until the trial starts.
Which was what was alarming to me, which is why it wouldn't surprise me if they cut him, because if he's in jail, that's going to be a long time before that trial starts.
Yep.
That is going to be a long. I mean, they will not fast track that just because, hey, camp's open at the end of July. We need this thing fast tracked. They're not going to fast track it for that, just because one of the guys that's being held is an NFL player.